Libra ascendant. Now, in case of Libra ascendant, Sun will make its move in your 7th house. 7th house is the house of business. It is the house of marriage. It is the house of circumstance. If first house is you, 7th house is anything that is not you. So it is more a collective house that represents variety of information that you as a person receives from this dimensional world. When Sun goes in the 7th house, it becomes exalt. That means you will see that you are in a much better situation. You are in a much better place. You are in an exalted place. And you will be able to see the circumstance in a proper light. You will be able to see things more clearly. But you will also find you a misfit. This may be a misconception, this may be an assumption, this may be an illusion, but it is because of Ketu's movement in your first house. On 12th of April, Ketu and Rahu will move on your first and 7th house respectively. Ketu coming on your first house tries to destabilize it initially because not only it is in Vishakha Nakshatra, it goes in the sign of Libra. So there is too much of branching, too much of diversification, differentiation happening. So your identity will be bisected into multiple parts. Now, depending upon the situation you are in, you may either believe to be the best because you have deserved all these things, or you may believe to be a misfit, and this can create doubt and confusion and misunderstanding of the situation, and you will find that you are not able to cope up and you end up taking a lot of suggestions. The problem is, suggestions are okay, but Jupiter is in the 6th house from 13th of April. Sun will find Rahu's presence in the 7th house. This means suggestion can go against you if you do not understand your own point of view. It's like everything is coming right in front of you. Everything is getting exposed. It may be too much of data, and there is also a problem. How do you differentiate between what is reality and what is illusion? Because both will come right in front of you at the same time. And this is where Ketu in the first house will play a vital role so that you figure out what is right and what is wrong. You will have to utilize your ascendant lord Venus power. Where is Venus? 11th from Sun. That means you will have over dependence on your business partner, over dependence on your spouse. You will have a lot of trust and faith and maybe blind trust on people whom you think they are genuine towards you, they are your well-wishers. This is fine. Having trust and faith is not wrong, but losing your identity completely and completely being dependent on somebody else is actually a bad thing to do when Sun gets exalt. This is the time to prove yourself. Venus will be in the 5th house along with Mars. And then Venus will also get exalt when it moves into the sign of Pisces in the month of April itself. The dispositor of the 7th house being in the 5th house is very good for marriage, romance, marriage proposals. But because 7th house is confused here, you will also be confused. The two options or many options that you will have, each will have equal strength and equal opportunities. And this is where you will have to judge through your losses. So you must see the negative side first and then follow the positive side. You have to weigh the cons before the pros. Why? Because when Sun and Rahu will be on the two extremes of your 7th house, Mercury will be right in between, aspecting your ascendant. Mercury is your 9th and 12th lord. It is the planet that can change your destiny. It is a planet that can change your losses. So this is your 12th lord sitting in the 7th house. Now this transit is good. Sun transit clubbed with Venus and Mercury and Rahu is good for business that is related to exchange of goods and services overseas, export and import, anything that has to do with business beyond your own territory, a person from north settling up business in the south or vice versa. That means just going outside your comfort zone. But this is also the time where you can reassess all the losses, all the negative pain points, negative areas, and then start cutting those things off, because Ketu is a cutter and that becomes your first duty. This is no coincidence that on one hand Ketu comes on your first house and on the other hand Sun moves in the 7th house. Sun becomes powerful. Well, things are coming in knowledge, things are coming in limelight just so that you can get rid of the load, baggage and unnecessary memories and responsibilities. And this is why the consciousness is also in the 7th house in the form of Buddha. Chanting Vishnu Sahasranam, Vishnu Shodashanam Stotra every morning, and chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, praying to Mahavishnu, praying to Mahashiv is going to be the best way, because they will provide the real guidance so that you can differentiate the reality from fiction. Coming to the reality and fiction topic, this is a very good time for people who are in media, advertising, people who are associated with journalism, storytelling, anything that has to do with fiction writing, imagination, business ideas, consultancy services. All these sectors will see good boost. And on the other hand, people who are associated with editing, photography, direction will see a new way of life, a new area, so you can also follow your passion. This is also the time when your wishes will be fulfilled, but there are certain criteria that has to be met. Your wishes will be fulfilled if you know what you are wishing for. This is the time of soul realignment, and after 2nd of May, when the Shukla Paksha of May month begins after the eclipse, the best way is that fast on Ekadashi. And if you are unaware of any ritual or any process, just taking the name of Mahaprabhu, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, just taking this name, this is called Nam Smaran. Remembering the God's name is more than enough to align. Remember, Sun is a force, Sun is soul, Mercury is consciousness, and Rahu is that capacity that can take you beyond the obvious, beyond the natural. And this is the time where a different dimension will come to you, a new realm will come to you. It's a new change that automatically comes right in front of you. It is you who must be ready to fit, because if you are a square, you won't be able to fit in a triangle. And in order to do that, you will have to reduce your size, which may not be acceptable to you, because Sun increases the ego. This also means that you will face criticism from public. There can be some statements that can hurt your ego, that can pinch you. You must be very, 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 very non-reactive to these statements and these events of life. Otherwise, it can create unnecessary troubles. Health-wise, you must ensure that you are eating right, you are thinking right. Try not to go into depression, especially if you are Libra moon sign. Ketu's energy will immediately bring multiple thoughts that will divide your mind, create confusion. So focus on declutter, and because it is the 7th house, you need to declutter your environment. So start with your own room, your own home, the clothes that you wear. Any unnecessary thing should be thrown away. This Sun transit is not just a transit. This is the initiation of a process. It is like the Sun, like a god, like a deva. He is a deva, but like a strong divine force is bringing the light. It is just switching on the light of the room. Now you see everything, and now his son Surya says it's totally on you. Declutter is going to be the theme of this transit for Libra ascendant and Libra moon sign. Scorpio ascendant. Sun rules your 10th house, and this Sun goes in the 6th house. This is a transit of responsibility. This is a transit of relief. This is a transit where you come out from the brain fog and now everything becomes clearer to you. Slowly things will come into vision. You will get to know who your real friends are, who your real enemies are. You will get to know what is your true self. It's a transit of prarabdha karma where you will realize what is your actual karma, actual responsibility, and then you will have to leave everything behind and fulfill your duties. It is a kind of a transit where the cloud of Ketu from last 1.5 years is removed and the light of Sun comes together all at once, and this is like after a spell of rain and dark clouds, suddenly the Sun is smiling from behind. The clouds are now getting dispersed and now it's all sunshine. But when this happens, you get to see both the good as well as the damage of life. It is like only after the storm one can go and visit the place and realize how much damage has been caused, and therefore for some people this will become a transit of damage assessment, and only once you will assess the damage is when you will realize what are the recovery methods that you will have to take, how long it will take, and that is a clarity that was much needed for Scorpio ascendant and especially Scorpio moon sign. Observe that Jupiter will bless your ascendant from the sign of Pisces. Pisces being 5th from Scorpio, Jupiter will bring more learnings, better understanding of the situation. It will aspect your 9th and the 1st house. And now the Karma Lord Surya goes into the Prarabdha Karma house, the house of duties, to remove you from the shackles of darkness. And therefore you should every day chant this shloka. Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma mritam gamaya. Om shantihi shantihi shantihi. Because this is the time when you will be moved from darkness to light. It is a very good transit for career transformation, career change. It is a transit where you will be able to take new roles, new responsibilities, challenging roles that is actually good for you. Yes, it might be that you will have to relocate, you will have to move, you will have to leave your comfort zone, but that is fine because this will give you new opportunities to expand and rise. Rahu and Sun in the 6th house also means that your enemies will become stronger, the hurdles and the obstacles will also become stronger, or rather I will say they were already strong enough. You were not able to see that, and now you will be able to see the actual strength of the opposition. Now you can work on yourself. So this is the transit of self-assessment, self-realization and rework. This is not the transit where you start something new from scratch without analyzing your true potential. But the best way to handle this is by realizing your actual strength, assessing the pros and cons of every decision that you make, especially if it is associated with inheritance, properties, career, divorce cases, specific operation, or buying a plot of land where you are investing a lot of money. This is also a good transit for people in corporates, IT sector. You will see the support, you will be able to tell people how much efforts you have already put in. You will be able to get the recognition out of this. But with all the recognition, with all the promotion, with all the growth comes controversy. Because Rahu and Sun will also create an eclipse in the month of May, and therefore this can also create a controversy that can increase your enemies. There can be issues with your employees, labor force. Drop your ego because this is the house of service. serve dogs, stray animals, cows, and try to connect your consciousness with nature. Drop the artificial coat that you wear and be as natural as you can. If possible, trust me, sleep on ground. These connect with the natural forces, will make you more stronger, will refine you, and because this is also a transit of detoxification. Natural Atmakaraka Surya goes in the Rogasthana, house of disease and disputes. Therefore, it will also bring out diseases from your body, and you will be able to see that the defects or flaws in a human body that you are facing, or you are ignoring rather, now you cannot ignore. So if you ignore still, then remember Saturn from Capricorn will have its own ways of dealing things. It will reduce your productivity by slowing you down, maybe through a disease. So what you have to do, you have to bring in holistic lifestyle. Ayurveda, pranayam, and mantra jap are the three ways by which you can handle these negativity, and you will be able to proceed in the positive direction. The biggest strength that you will have is the position of Mars. Mars, being your ascendant lord, is in the 4th house, and this Mars is actually the dispositor of Sun as well as Rahu. And because it is in the 4th house, this also means that you will fight for your right, fight for justice. You will also fight for your comfort, where you are more comfortable. But understand one thing, if your fight is not for a good cause, or it is not for justice, and you're just fighting because it is comfortable to you, but if your comfort breaches somebody else's comfort, then this will become a war where Rahu and Sun will simply clash, and Jupiter's blessing will no longer be there. It will just become a guidance. So be careful from that part. Display of ego and display of wealth should be avoided, because there will be a danger of theft. There will be a danger of fire, especially if you have some factory or some home where the fire management is not there. Better take care of that. Light up a diya early in the morning in front of God in your home temple. Any prayer you do it with great sense of affection, care, and emotions towards God. Shows your humanly side, humanly emotion to God, to the divine, because this is your soul going beyond boundaries, beyond dimensions. That's what Rahu in 6th will do. I will make another video soon on this channel for Rahu transit in the sign of Aries and Ketu transit in Taurus. So subscribe the channel so that you get notifications. But for this 1 month, when Sun will move, Mars in the 4th house means you are fighting for your motherland, for your country, for your society, for your mother, for yourself. Fight, but then Jupiter in the 5th house also talks about wisdom. Also, people who are trying for childbirth might see some progression on that field. Issues related to productivity of life, issues related to childbirth is also going to be resolved. Donate to people who find it difficult to see. Donate in blind school. Charity towards people who are poor, who are unable to take medical care, but they have problem in their eyes, is going to be beneficial in this time frame. Overall, this transit is the transit of observation, duty and responsibility, and doing beyond your duty, going one step extra, be it relationship or be it career. And then once you prove that you have done that, you will get the results, because after all, your Kundli is nothing but a karmic map. This transit is extremely beneficial, but provided you are ready to accept, surrender, and have gratitude towards what you already have. Sagittarius ascendant. Sun rules your 9th house. It is a very important planet for Sagittarius ascendant or moon sign. It is a planet that defines divine blessings. It is a planet that defines destiny for Dhanu Lagna, Dhanu Rashi. Such sun goes in the 5th house, it becomes exalt and it crosses the Gandanta from 4th to 5th house. And now for Sagittarius Surya, the sun is Bhavad Bhavam, 9th from 9th. Definitely this is a transit of immense and intense learning. It is a transit of gains. It is a transit where your expectations will be fulfilled, and it is a transit where your attempts and your efforts will be to increase productivity of life. Once sun becomes exalted in the zodiac sign of Mesha, Aries, sun will start showering the light to the 11th house. 5th house is actually the natural home for the sun, because from the perspective of Aries ascendant or Kal Purush zodiac sign, the sign of Leo falls in the 5th house. So 5th house is the natural zodiac of Surya. So whenever sun goes in the 5th house, it becomes comfortable. It's like a natural instinct of the sun to perform the duties. And when sun for Sagittarius goes in the 5th, it makes you more creative. It gives you that strong willpower. It gives you the knowledge, the learning to overcome all obstacles and make your life more creative, more productive. It enhances your personality and it gives you more opportunities in life to grow your income. This is a transit of wealth generation. This transit will give you more money than you have expected. This transit is also good for people investing in share market, speculative business. But don't take any risk, because Rahu will also enter through Kritika Nakshatra. This can be an aggravated desire to suddenly increase your wealth. If you lose track of your own action, then you can actually go in a wrong direction. After all, Ketu also goes in your 11th house. This is the time to increase your wealth through diversification. You should not only focus on one area of life, but see if you can create multiple avenues of wealth. That's how you can increase your productivity. This is also a time when a dead platform, a dead area of your life from the perspective of finances can be revived back to life. This is a time when you will become more agile. Laziness that part of the life will go away. You need to clean your surroundings and live in an environment where rooms are lit, the hall is lit. Light does not need to be coming from a very high wattage electrical appliance. It can also be a small light, a diya. But what it means is, do not sit in darkness, rather use a lot of illumination in life. This is a good time for students and also a brilliant time for people who want to pursue higher education, who want to pursue certification. You will see excellence in your children and they will make you proud. Sun and Rahu in the 5th house can also create negatively. It can create a fight between you and your father, grandfather, father-in-law, or a father figure. So be careful on that part. Overestimating your strength or overstretching can bring health issues. So you also need to know when to stop, when to pull down your guards, when to limit yourself. So if you are accepting the limit which the planets are trying to offer, you will see that you will be in a much better position. Now the dispositor of the sun, which is Mars, will be in your 3rd house. Definitely it means that you are taking matters in your own hand. These are the few initiatives that you have taken which will be more productive. So it is good time to start something new, a new business, a new chapter of life, a new venture, a new relationship. But this also means that you will have to involve yourself. You will have to learn and then execute and weigh out all possibilities. Karma is more important. And when Sun finds Rahu which can be an exaggeration of ego, do not act out of ego, act responsibly. Now, if you observe, the more the sun grows and glows in the Aries zodiac sign, you will feel the need to expand your territory. Expansion is good. Expansion is okay. As long as this is an expansion for your and the development and the development of near and dear ones. So maybe in a family you might have to take few decisions, but here if you take a decision without taking anybody else into consideration, especially your children and your family and spouse, then it can create tussles in the family, it can create ego battles. From 29th April, Saturn will also move with Mars, so it just does not mean that it is an infinite aggressive strength that you will have. Saturn will bring the limits and maturity in your own actions. So if you have to express something, express in a way that doesn't hurt anybody, express diplomatically, have that enthusiasm. Your speech will have, and your expression and your body language will have that energy, but it should not show the sign of dominance. It's a careful balance of energy, and if you do it, you will be seeing yourself as a man in center or a woman in center, and things are revolving around you, and you are not only responsible for growth of yourself but also your family, but also you will see that you have greater responsibilities and you will upgrade yourself as a human. For Sagittarius, Ascendant and Moon sign, I will say this is a perfect time to do something big. This is a perfect time to enhance, upgrade, improve your soft skills. And if you're stuck in your career, take initiatives and get out. Do something of your own, but obviously think thoroughly, because one wrong decision, and Sun will move out of the 5th house, but Rahu is going to be there, and that can corrupt your wisdom. That is why chanting Ma Saraswati mantra for entire year is extremely important for you until the Sun comes back in the sign of Aries for Sagittarius Ascendant. For you, this is a transit of life and light. This is a transit of upgrade. This is a transit of growth. And this is a transit that is extremely good for you. Make the best use of it. Capricorn Ascendant. Sun rules your 8th house. Therefore, this is a planet of transformation. Sun is definitely going to be a planet that is always going to counter your ascendant lord's initiatives. Sun and Saturn both are said to be enemies, but still they are father and son. That means Sun and Saturn continue to disagree with each other, but they are the forces of nature that are responsible for life and death, that are responsible for light as well as delay. On one hand, Sun can bring major shift in your career, a major shift in your personal life. On the other hand, Saturn's move in the 2nd house also impacts you in a great way. On 14th of April, Sun will make its move in the sign of Aries. Sun will become exalt, but it will also be with Rahu. On the other hand, Saturn will be on your ascendant till 29th of April, and then from 29th it will be in the sign of Aquarius. When Saturn goes in the sign of Aquarius, the 3rd aspect of this Saturn will fall on the Sun itself. That means Sun will now come under the malefic effects of Rahu as well as the 3rd aspect of Shani. But in your case, Saturn is Yoga Karaka because it's your 1st lord as well as 2nd lord. But when Saturn's 3rd aspect falls on 8th lord, it means that you are supposed to bring that transformation in your life. You are supposed to be personally involved into the changes, and it also affects your overall day-to-day personal life. It affects your personality. It affects your overall attitude towards life. For last couple of years, Saturn was on your ascendant, trying to refine you, trying to change the way you think, trying to change your life. But this Shani, when it goes in the second house, it starts affecting your wealth and your family assets. Sun in the fourth house can create issues related to inheritance, property, some issues at home, dispute between family members, and you must take the initiative to resolve these conflicts. You need to avoid ego-based conflicts and conflicts that arise out of issues of reputation. Otherwise, this will only create a disturbance in your family, and because Saturn is making a very short trip to the sign of Aquarius, soon you might have to retract, you might have to revisit your decision, and that can be a waste of time, as well as you can put yourself into a situation where it's more controversial in nature, it hurts your self-respect, and this only puts you into darkness. But yes, this is the negative side. But if you are in control of the situation, if you're wise, if your third house Jupiter is trying to act in a positive manner, that means you are acting in a positive manner. In fact, you are listening to the guidance of the Guru. If your actions are refined and if your actions are as per the dharma, the right path, then definitely Saturn's third aspect on Sun will only reduce the negativity of the 8th house by you being personally involved in the matters of transformation, and this will bring a lot of changes at home. This is the right time to change the Vastu of the home. It is a must for Capricorn ascendant right now to check the Vastu of their property in some way and at least bring a Vastu Yantra at home so that some negativity can be mitigated by the energy changes brought by the Vastu remedies, Vastu Yantra. If you are associated with property related matters, land related matters, you will see that there might be some arrangements that will resolve your issues. So work towards that. Health of mother can be a concern. So you will have to be very proactive. You will have to be always aware about the health of a family member. But because Saturn's Mool Trikona zodiac sign Aquarius is a very strong zodiac sign for you, if you take all these things into consideration, your wealth will increase, your family assets will increase, you might also protect your family from an upcoming disaster. In case you plan your financial security, this is the right time. This is also the time when your wealth should watch out for your investment, how much money you are investing, how much money your business is giving you, how much money is being consumed for maintenance of your assets, and this is where the planning goes into. This will not only save your money, but a slight conservative, financially conservative nature will help you in the long run. Now, if you observe Saturn and Sun relation here, Rahu will also play a very vital role, because Rahu, after all, is in the 4th house, and this means you are getting uncomfortable because of certain family situation, because of the environment at home, and that can push you more and more towards your career. This is the planetary arrangement that is trying to push you out of your comfort zone and maybe create a new comfort zone for you. Sun will show the light to the 10th house, which also means that career will draw most of your focus. Maybe there is a need of money, maybe there is a need of asset and wealth creation, and that will be compensated by your efforts towards your career. But if you are making an efforts towards your career, you should ensure that you should not push yourself beyond your limit, but try to understand that before being a leader, you must be a follower. Before being a teacher, you must be a student. If you are humble, if you show gratitude, and if you are down to earth, then the same Saturn's third aspect on the Sun and Saturn 3-11 combination will give you great benefits, health improvements, solution of problems, out of the box solutions, and this will also give you more opportunities to create future wealth for future assets. Basically, it becomes a transit of abundance. Now, when you observe the position of Sun with respect to Jupiter, Jupiter will find this Sun second from itself, and Jupiter is basically your 12th and 3rd lord. We can't just see Sun transit alone. We have to see rule of Jupiter and rule of Mars. Jupiter being the 12th from the Sun, this means you must act and think logically in spite of whatever happens in your life, and that will give you good sense of judgment, and every single action that you will take will only lead you to the right direction. This is not the right time to invest into risky business. Risky investment should be avoided, and try to avoid any conflict, especially in the matters of business and marriage. This can also create tensions between your in-laws, so try to maintain a respectable and honorable position there. And the dispositor of Sun is Mars. Mars will be in the 2nd house, so this is more like your energy, your efforts, your sleep, your patience, and your happiness is only going to be maintained by you focusing on the financial and wealth management. This is the right time to secure your finances. This is the right time to get rid of the loans and the debts, especially related to properties, buildings, asset, car, vehicles. And this is also the right time to find your true happiness and work towards it. But just be sure that you should not spend a lot of money just to make yourself happy. Overall, this Sun transit in the sign of Aries for Capricorn ascendant natives is going to be a transit of immense transformation, where you will also change the way you feel happiness, change the way or the area where you actually find your true happiness. Maintain a good health through yoga and pranayam, and keep your anger at check. Overall, this can be a transit which creates a new platform for you, a new avenues for you, especially in the matters of career. This transit can bring necessary guidance, necessary light on what kind of learning you must have, what are your capabilities, what are your good areas and the bad areas. This highlights the negativity so that you can take care of it and work towards it. This is the transit of improvement, and I am sure you will improve a lot in the next 1 month. Aquarius ascendant. Sun rules your 7th house, and the Sun will be in the 3rd house. This means that if you are facing any struggle related to marriage and business, this is the time that you take initiatives. Now, this is the transit where you will not find a result, but you will start a process. This is a transit of initiation. Sun will not work alone in the 3rd house. 3rd house Sun is going to be very powerful for you, but Rahu here actually inflates the energy and makes you believe that you can achieve the impossible. But this is the catch here. If you are not aware of what you are trying to do, then you can result into taking actions that will have bad consequences in the future. 3rd house is the house of initiatives. It is the house of efforts. It is the house that defines your communication, and it is also your courage. When Sun goes there and it becomes exalt, it means you get all the possible support that makes you more and more courageous. It helps you fight all the odds, and it gives you the enormous amount of willpower. That's the positive side. But on the other hand, if you see, Rahu has also entered the sign of Aries in Kritika Nakshatra, the nakshatra of Surya, and this can actually corrupt the courage, corrupt the initiatives, and can inflate the desire. 3rd house is also the beginning of desire. Aries is a zodiac sign of desire because it is the first zodiac sign of Kalpurush. It is the beginning of everything, and that means when planets are powerful in this house for Aquarius ascendant, it is the time that when you are taking an initiative, you should be extremely cautious of what you are doing, what are the consequences of your actions, who are you impacting. Are you trying to dominate? Is it an overconfidence? Have you assessed your capabilities wrongly? Did you really weigh out the pros and cons of the situation you are in? Because if you have not asked these questions to yourself, then certainly you might be in trouble. Overall, this is a good transit. This is a transit that will help you overcome all the odds, find innovative solutions, smart solutions to your problem, and technology will help you in a great way, especially if you want to launch your business on a digital platform. People involved in e-commerce industry, telecommunication industry, people involved into solar panels, lighting systems, anything that has to do with body language, healers, doctors, philosophers, scientists, and anyone who is starting their career. This is a transit that will benefit all of them. Third house is also the house of creation. It represents your hands, and therefore this can also create mistakes. Chanting Gayatri Mantra is one way by which you will be able to clearly understand your limitations, and it will also help you understand your true potential. Saturn from 29th April will come in the first house. This gives you a peek view of who you really are. So this may surprise you. You may have felt before, you may have had an assumption that your capabilities are of certain kind or certain type or of certain level. It may be too high or too low. But when Saturn comes on the first house, when Sun goes exalt, the combination of these planets, and with the help of guidance of a guru, a learned person, you will be able to reassess and reevaluate yourself. So you should do that. You should reevaluate everything in your life. If you are a Aquarius ascendant, or especially if you are an Aquarius moon sign, this is the high time to reevaluate your entire life. Use this 1 month, every single day, full 30 days of this transit, to figure out your next 30 years. Because this combination will not happen again. At least not with respect to Jupiter. After 18 years, Rahu and Sun might come back to the same position. Once again, Rahu will enter Aries. Once again, Sun will enter Aries. But will they come at exact two opposite sides of Aries? Will there be Mercury in between? Will there be Jupiter in your second house? The answer is no. Any initiative taken for career and wealth generation will meet with good results, will end up with good results, provided you are not greedy, you are not over empowering, and your actions are humble and down to earth. Jupiter in the second house, being a Dhana Lord, gives you the opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity, that will help you build a bright future, that will give you a lot of wealth and happiness. But here you are the creator of your own destiny. You are the one who must decide your true path, because Sun, the true role of Surya is just to show the light. This is a transit of wish fulfillment. This is the transit where people who are willing to start a new business will see that the hurdles are going away. You are more and more aware about the blockage, and you are taking initiatives to solve that. This is a transit that will create new entrepreneurs. And this is also a transit where you might find your soulmate. But because Rahu affliction comes along, awareness and caution is very much necessary. It's not that Rahu is always going to be blamed for everything negative that happens. Rahu is the necessary push that can make a dying sun alive. So it might also be a case where you are deeply in trouble in your life, and this smart initiative that you take, this smart step that you take in life after careful evaluation, will actually pull you out from all problems. So this is the time to actually show your true strength. But this should be done after re-evaluation of your true strength. You must know who you are. So it's also a transit of self-discovery. But because Sun rules the 7th house, it means that your action will be actually a reaction of circumstance towards the circumstance. So you should be careful on that part also. There should be a no knee-jerk reaction. Be careful how you react to the situations at home, especially in marriage. Deal carefully. Showing too much of authority can be actually negative in this case. When you are going for a short distance travel, plan your travel beforehand and never fight with your neighbor. A neighbor can be of help, so you should be of help also to people around you. If you be a good person, this transit will not only help you uplift your soul from a lower dimension to a higher dimension, but this transit will also tell you how to uplift a soul, not only yours but also others. Third house is the house of potential. It is giving all the potential in your hand. What you do with this energy is going to decide your future, not only in this life but also the next life. So don't treat this transit as just another ordinary usual transit. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity where your Lagna Lord comes in the Lagna, second Lord goes in the second house, and Sun becomes exalt in the third house. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. For students, this is going to be an excellent opportunity to figure out the right path, but then you must not be short-sighted. You must see the long picture. You must plan for the next 10 years and then decide what is exactly that helps you reach 10 years down the line. Something may be popular now, and this is also for people who are in job, who are in career, who want certification. Something might be popular now, but that doesn't mean it will be relevant in the future. You must be future ready when you're buying technology, when you're planning for career, when you're planning for courses, even when you are trying to launch a new product or service in your business. You must be future ready, and this is the time where you will be able to see the future. You will be able to understand the future. So you have to do two things. I'm repeating this again. First, assess your capabilities and then evaluate the pros and cons. And then the third thing is, whatever you do, you must be future ready. This transit is going to help you a lot, especially if you are facing any health issue. This transit will take initiatives to recover, to find a new solution with respect to health. So that is also going to be addressed when Sun will be exalt. Overall, if you avoid anger, if you avoid greed, if you avoid ego-based satisfaction, and if you avoid comparison with other people, you will see that not only you will be happy, but you will also be better than the previous version of you. Pisces Ascendant. Now, in case of Pisces Ascendant, there has been a bigger transit than the Sun transit, and that is the Jupiter transit. On 13th of April, Jupiter made its move in your first house, and on 14th of April, Sun made its move in your second house. But we can't ignore the Jupiter's energy association with Sun. On 13th, when Jupiter entered your first house, Sun was in the Revati Nakshatra Gandanta on your ascendant. Sun is actually the sixth lord, and therefore Sun rules Prarabdha Karma. For Pisces, ego becomes the bigger obstacle. The ego and the kingly nature becomes an hurdle to existence because of the sheer nature of the zodiac sign. Pisces defining philosophy, Pisces defining the depth of knowledge, not limited to one tattva, not limited to the Rajasic tattva, but spreading across all three tattvas and gunas. Being a Piscean means Trigonatit. That means you must be beyond the three gunas, or at least you must be able to understand the three guna. Not that you will become a god, but at least you must surrender to the god. And when Jupiter enters the first house, it actually pushes you to reach that unition, that unity between the sattva, rajas and the tamas, in a way that everything dissolves to become one, and you understand the unity in diversity. And this further, this torch, this information is then further carried by the Sun transit in the sign of Aries. This is a new beginning of a solar cycle, but starting from the second house. And second house is the house of family and wealth. When Sun goes there, it wants to test your wisdom and test your knowledge by making you handle certain situations, especially related to family, wealth, and health. Not that things will become negative, but because of the Rahu's presence in the second house, this wants you to actually take right decisions, get rid of the debts, get rid of the unnecessary, unwanted blockages and hurdles that is blocking you from being a true family member, from being a wealthy person, and from being a person that focuses on the diet. Second house is also the zodiac, is also the house which controls your food habits. It is also about what you speak, how you speak, not the expression, but the process of speaking. Second house has to do with accumulation of karma. It is about Sanchit karma, and when Prarabdha karma lord moves in the Sanchit karma house, then it is definitely going to speak a lot about how the management of karma happens. Definitely there are going to be events in your life that will dissolve some negative events. You will also get some relief, but initiatives must be taken to bring that relief. Jupiter's role is more important here. If you think with wisdom, if you think with broad-mindedness, if you drop the ego and let Rahu and Sun create a smart solution in the second house, you will see that a new way of life will emerge out of this that influences your role in the family, your responsibility towards the family members, and this is critical to create financial security, and you should also work towards financial security. This is the right time to create matured investment patterns, to get rid of the debts, to dissolve disputes, and maybe an initial financial settlement can settle down any court case or a dispute. Maybe initially you might decide to take that hit, but if that is a wise decision, if that is what is going to bring peace for a long term, then you should do it, because if it is advisable, if it is what is right, then don't stop yourself from doing what is actually right. Too much of insecurity will only prohibit you from taking actions in life. Ego and lack of surrender will only stop you from taking necessary actions, because this is the transit of Prarabdha karma lord, and when that happens, you got to do what you got to do. And that does not mean that you will take the path of wrong karma, because that is not what you got to do. But what it means is, if you have to quit your comfort zone, if you have to sacrifice something that is what you always wanted to achieve, but for now if you have to keep that aside, this is the transit that will help you understand the importance of that sacrifice and the consequences that will only give you a better future if you do it now. So for example, a diabetic patient is fond of sweets, and that is what he wants, but is it good for that patient? No. In this case, sacrifice of sweet and the sweet craving is actually a good thing in the long run. Once he is cured, once it is in control, then according to the medical advice, he can taste that, he can still explore that area. But if there is no sacrifice, there is no question of exploring the area, because first it will hit the life. Sun and Jupiter are the light and life, and when they are in your first and second house, what better time it will be to actually bring the life and light and life in your own personal space. This wisdom, this expansion is good, and this also means that this is going to help you expand the wealth. This is going to expand the family and a new family member. You can buy a new home, a new event can happen, an auspicious event can happen in the family that will bring even the distant family members together. Doing a havan at home, doing a puja at home is actually going to be good in the next 1 month, depending upon the muhurat, wherever you are. With second house, Rahu and Sun, you should also speak in a very humble manner because your words will matter a lot. After all, Mercury is also going to be in the first house, and then in the second half it will be in the second house. Words will matter a lot for you. Anything out of aggression, anything out of frustration, anything out of anger can damage relations, especially relation with your spouse, relation with your in-laws. Fight related to inheritance can start because of Sun and Rahu eclipse happening in the second house, aspecting 8th house. Any investment that was done in a risky manner previously should be monitored closely right now because that can backfire. And if possible, if you suspect, then pull the money out, take care of your financial investment. Buying an insurance, securing your financial life future is the theme of the Sun transit in the sign of Aries. Drink plenty of water, do a lot of pranayam, and speak positive words, affirmations, because this is the time when you can manifest your future by speaking. So speak only positive words. If you curse, if you smoke, and if you take in or take out the negativity for other people, it is only going to hurt you. The best thing to do here is to speak out the negativity, but in a manner that it is not targeted to anyone. Rather, it is discussed with a counselor, with a learned person, a good friend, your partner, whoever can listen to that, and so that things can be thrown out of your body, then the negativity can be thrown out of your mind, and you will become lighter and peaceful. This is not the time to inhale the darkness. This is the time to go from darkness to light. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityurma mritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.